Good morning, good afternoon. I am so happy to be here today. I'm excited to see everybody is excited about search engine marketing. Didn't really think that Google would draw in that many people, but apparently the crowds have proved us wrong. So thanks for coming. This is a guide to search engine optimization. I am Joshua Ziering, and Full Speed SEO is my website. Technical issues. Oh, cool. Does this work? Oh, awesome. Cool. Well, let's get started. Can I get on that? Nice. Got all the toys up here. The little clicker, got the microphone, loving it. So, how did I learn SEO? I had a website called myantishot.com, and it was just my personal blog. I had it when I was a teenager. And basically, I just wanted to rank for my name. I wanted, when I type in Josh Ziering into Google, I wanted my name and my site to come up. It really wasn't that difficult, but there was a problem. The website name is derived from my uncle married a Playboy bunny, which was awesome. I was like 13 at the time and completely devastated by this. And so her name, obviously, had a lot more links than my name. And when you would type my name into Google, it would be an awesome combination of Josh Hartnett and Nikki Ziering. Don't have a problem with that. Josh Hartnett, I'll take the comparison any day, but I just wanted to make sure that people could find me. So at the time, it wasn't a big problem, but years later, it did become a problem. Sitting at the Thanksgiving dinner table when you're 13 across from a Playboy bunny, that was kind of a big problem at the time. It's like, Josh, do you want to cut the turkey? Absolutely not, please. So, how do I increase my rankings? That is the question that everybody asks me. How do I get the top of Google? Well, there are many ways to do it, and I'm going to outline them today. We're going to talk about analyzing your niche, understanding what it is that your competitors are doing, dominating the niche, making sure that you can make things happen, and then tracking your progress. If you can make amazing things happen, but you don't know you're doing them, it's really not doing you much good. So, the mission statement of this speech: to give you enough knowledge about SEO to not get ripped off if you hire somebody to do your SEO. There's no problem with paying. You can pay someone to do it, but you need to understand what it is they are doing. And finally, to make positive adjustments to your own website. If you don't want to pay someone to do it, or you're a small-time outfit, you want to make some small adjustments to help your SEO, that's fine. The mission here is to be able to give you the knowledge to make positive changes to your website so you can rank better. So the big question that I get is, who do I optimize for? And in my mind, there is only one answer, and that is Google. This is a pie chart here that I made from the June 2009 Nielsen rankings. Nielsen, you might know the name, they track the television ratings. Well, they also have an internet sector that tracks search engines and different websites. So here you can see that Google takes up 66% of the market share. That's devastating. That means for every 10 searches, almost 7 of them are Google. If we were to break this room about right here, everybody here is using Google. The rest are broken up between the various other competitors. So my philosophy is optimize for Google, let the others catch on. There's a reason that they're the best. There's a reason that most people use them. Those guys will catch up. Maybe their market share will increase, and I'll be telling people something different a year from now. But for right now, concentrate on Google. My philosophy for SEO is pretty holistic. When the space program was getting going in the 60s, the Americans went to the Russians and they said, guys, how did you manage to get a pen to work in space? We've been working really hard on this. And the Russians said, we use pencils. That's the kind of SEO philosophy that I preach. Keep it simple. There's no reason to get real crazy. There are ways to do this without going into PageRank silos and different kinds of really technical things. It doesn't matter if you understand SEO or not. To a really high level, you can still do things. So Google, that's who you want to optimize for. So most people here, I'm assuming, have websites. How many people have websites that they want to rank or already have a domain name? Oh, all right. Well, maybe I'll just breeze through this then. If you haven't picked a domain name that's keyword rich, you need to consider it. Direct match domain names are one of the best ways to rank highly in Google. It gives you a nice head start against your competition if you have a domain name that's keyword rich. So here you can see this is the Google keyword tool. I really like using it because it tells you important information about what people are searching for. So if you're unsure if your bluewidget.com is going to be the right keyword to pick, go check out the Google keyword tool because it's going to tell you the monthly searches that those terms receive. Obviously, if you can pick up a nice domain name that matches your keyword, you're going to be at an advantage to your competition. You're going to have a nice head start. And so here you can see the blue arrow is called exact match, and that's basically just saying how many people are searching for this exact word. If you're looking for a domain name, you want to try to do the exact match. The red arrow indicates how many global monthly searches there are. So this is just something basic you can do if you haven't bought a domain name yet, or perhaps you're unhappy with your domain name and are willing to change. You can find a nice domain name by looking for good, highly searched terms in Google Keywords tool. As a rule of thumb, if I'm doing a niche that, if it's not my business, if I'm looking for a niche to get into to SEO, I like to find 8,000 global monthly searches. That tells me that if I can get on to the first page of Google, I can usually get some decent volume on that page. So even if I'm number 8 or number 7 or number 9, I can still get some decent traffic that's pretty highly targeted. So you can see here, if it's not taken, fixedgearbike.com is not a bad domain name to have. It receives 22,000 exact search matches, compared to the plural, which Fixed Gear Bikes, which receives only 14,800. And just remember that these are exact match terms. They're not going to include what's called long tail keywords. Long tail keywords are keywords like best fixed gear bike ever. Yes, it has your main keyword in it, but there are additional keywords. And so Google is going to factor you in there as well, and that's where your site copy comes into play. Your text on the page. That's where you're going to get those additional rankings from. So if you already have a domain name that you're not willing to change, it's all right. It's only one of about 200 different factors that Google uses to rank you. When you look at the list of things that Google uses in their algorithm, it's staggering. Don't be intimidated by it. No need to worry about it. If you can change your domain name or get a new one with keywords in it, it helps. But it's not a big deal if you don't want to or you can't. Amazon, eBay. eBay is not about anything to do with the ocean or ships. Amazon is not about a forest. These people rank for things that are not even in their domain name. So it's definitely possible. It's not a big deal. With the right strategy, you can do it, and it's not a big deal. So if you're going to pick a domain name, just a couple of pitfalls. Don't pick like a 70-letter domain name. Remember, this is going to show up. People are going to see this. You may eventually want to put it on a business card. So don't pick something really long and obnoxious. A well-placed dash goes a long way. How many people here know of the website Experts Exchange? If you search for a lot of nerdy things, especially computer problems in Google, inevitably you will run into this site. And without the dash, it turns into expertsexchange.com. Depends on what you're looking for, but I would much rather look for the technical help. If you're a geographically centric business, it doesn't hurt to work that into your domain name. Oftentimes when people are searching for services, they will append or prepend their search with a geographic term. If you have a city, work that in. A region, work that in. A state, work that in. Oftentimes you'll find that those domain names are more available than the generic version of it. So if you have floorpolishers.com, that's awesome. But if you're based in Houston, it's really not going to help you very much if you are getting clients and leads from Florida. If you're looking to expand, that's awesome. But if you can focus geographically, that will help. And it's another option for you to get a nice domain name. So this is the boring part, where is your website optimized? Everybody likes to talk about this. There are a million blog articles about this. I'm going to cruise through it really quick because I find it absolutely dry, dull, and boring. So is your main keyword in the title tag? That should be the first thing that you're looking at. The title tag is basically telling Google what your page is about. For people that are unsure, the title tag is what you see in the top of your site. The H1 tags, you should be making good use of those. The most important keyword needs to be in H1 tags, and don't go crazy with them. Pick 1 or 2 keywords, put them in H1 tags. That's important. It lets Google know what you're talking about. You should have a meta description. A meta description is what you see oftentimes in the search engine result pages. And so, for example, this gentleman who has a model airplane site, modelplanes.com is the premier retailer of scale model airplanes in the world. You'll find the best selection of model planes and other model aircraft. So let's talk about that for a second. In your meta description, it's important to have your main keywords. You can work in variations and other keywords that you'd like to rank for. It's very important to do that. And it really works well if you have a nice human-friendly meta description. Everybody's going to talk about optimization and work in all the keywords you can. But ultimately, when someone reads that, that's what's going to convince them to click on your site. So even though you rank number 2, if it looks really spammy or it doesn't read well, people are going to get confused by it. And especially if it's long, they're going to get confused by it, and they're going to go to the next guy that has a really simple one. So there's a fine line between working in your keywords and being a spammer. You want to be pretty conservative here, because people have to read this and people have to deal with this on a daily basis. So even if you have good rankings, if you have a bad meta description, ultimately it's going to hurt your click-through rate. Do you have a sitemap? That's pretty important. How many people here have sitemaps for their websites? Oh, wow, excellent. So you guys are well on board the sitemap train. Basically, it's going to tell Google, these are the pages that I have in my site. It's going to give Google an opportunity to crawl them. Oftentimes, Google won't crawl them. Sometimes they will. It happens. You may have a sitemap with all your pages in it, and still not all of them are indexed. Give it time. As they build links and they build authority, Google will find them and index them. But it's very important to make sure you have a sitemap to let Google know this is what I have. And I'm not talking about a sitemap as in a link to every page on your site on one of your pages. I'm talking about a full-blown XML file that you submit to Google via Google Webmasters tools. Do you guys have XML sitemaps? Hands? Oh, less. Okay, good. XML sitemaps are important. It's in the Google Webmaster Tools, which you should have an account for. It's google.com/webmasters. So, pro tip here, a content management system will do a lot of these boring things for you. I like WordPress as my content management system. I prefer to work in that because it's flexible, it's versatile, and there's a ton of plugins for it. There is like 3 different sitemap plugins for WordPress. It's easy to do. You install the plugin. You don't need to know any more than to upload a file and hit Make Sitemap. It takes care of the rest. How many people here use WordPress? Excellent. Love WordPress. If you get the opportunity, go to a WordPress camp in your area. They go all over the country, and you're going to meet a whole bunch of people that love WordPress and are passionate about it. It's a great place to network, and it's a great place to meet other webmasters who might be able to give you links. Hint. As far as optimizing WordPress, there's a number of plugins that you can do. I like the Google Sitemap Generator. That's what it's called. You simply install it, hit a button, and it pings Google, Yahoo, and MSN with your XML sitemap. There's another one called the All-in-One SEO Pack, and that really helps you customize WordPress titles. I don't know if you know, but the default WordPress is to have your blog name and then 2 awesome little triangles and then your page title, whatever the name of the post is. How many people here use All-in-One SEO on their WordPress? Okay, cool. That's an excellent plugin. You just need to make sure that you're doing it right and optimize for it. So work your keywords into those titles, work a meta description for every page if you can, especially your more important pages. If you have a giant website, there's no reason to go through and make a meta description for every single page. Focus on the pages you want people to land on and make meta descriptions for them. Popular posts. If you have a website, especially a blog, and you don't have the popular posts plugin, it's critical. I think that more and more Google is basing their rankings on performance. So you're going to find that if you have a higher retention rate, a lower bounce rate, you're going to rank better. Also the speed of the site. So it's not completely there yet, but Google's certainly moving in that direction. Towards that end, your average visitor time is going to go up if you have a popular post on there. When you get done reading a post, oftentimes you'll hit the back button. Well, if you can keep people on the site and give them something else to read, they're likely to stay there and follow through to whatever it is that you're looking for them to do. If you want an email address from them, if you want a lead from them, if you want them to buy something, the longer you keep them on the site, the more engaged they are, the more likely they are to complete your goal. So towards that end, you should work on a popular posts. Also, quick note about the popular posts. You want it to be for the last X days, 20 days, 30 days, 1 month, 2 months. What happens is if you have an all-time popular post, it becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. People see that this is the most popular post, they click on it. You're never going to see a change in the popular posts. If you're putting out new content frequently or semi-frequently, which you should, fresh content, Google loves that. If you can do that and use this popular post plugin, you're going to find that you get a better distribution of people throughout your site and a higher engagement. How many people here use the default WordPress theme? Oh, one. Awesome. This is for you. Lose the default theme. There's so many great free themes for WordPress available, and many of them are highly optimized for SEO right out of the box. Two of my favorites are the elegant themes. It's $20 a year. You get access to like 20 or 30 different themes that look absolutely gorgeous. If you want your site to look like a magazine, if you want your site to be a photo portfolio, whatever you want to have, a newspaper, whatever you want to have, they have it for you pretty much. It's awesome. They're very customizable and pretty cheap. $20 a year for a good-looking theme. It's hard to beat. Towards that end, Woo Themes has a larger selection of themes. However, they are more expensive, $20 a month. But for a big outfit, totally worth it. And once you find a theme you like, there's no reason to keep having a membership. If you're going to stick with it and make that your brand, awesome. Cancel the next month. So does everybody here host WordPress themselves on shared hosting or dedicated hosting? Hands, anyone? Okay, good. Well, there's a service that's brand new. It's out of Arizona. It's called Pagely. And one of the things that I love and hate about WordPress is that it's open source. So when they update and they give you a brand new WordPress to install, well, you have to go update your site, otherwise you risk getting hacked. I love it and I hate it. When you have 30 WordPress sites, I dread when they come out with updates because it means I have to fire up all these FTP clients and start uploading stuff. It's a disaster. Pagely is a managed hosting with WordPress installed. So when they come out with a new option or a new plugin or a new, not plugins, I'm sorry, a new branch of WordPress, they update automatically for you. That's really valuable. In addition to that, they include awesome themes, premium themes inside of their package. So if you only have one website or you're working towards not having to deal with the issues of webmastering, you don't want to be a webmaster. You want to focus on your business. Pagely is really great for that. And their address is page.ly. So a couple more notes about on-page optimization. Use the wow, it's early, guys. Use the Google Keywords tool for additional terms that you might want to rank for. The broad match option is great here. So whereas before we were using the exact match option, the broad match is going to suggest other keywords that Google feels are relevant to your main keyword. And so one of the sneaky tricks that we like to do in SEO is you rank for like terms, terms that would be considered in the same neighborhood, and you become an authority for those, and then it's easier to rank for the more broad terms because you're already seen as an authority. So use that Google Keyword tool not only for domains, but to figure out what you need to be including in your site's copy, in your text, so that you can rank for these additional terms, snag some free traffic. The Tilde Operator, it's pretty awesome. What you're going to do is every word in your search is going to be preceded by a tilde. And what's going to happen is when you get to the search engine result page, Google is going to bold the terms that it feels are related to those terms. So there's nothing overt about it. It's not going to tell you, oh, look, here's some related terms for you. The tilde operator simply bolds related terms on the search engine result page. So you can look at what your competitors are optimizing for and what Google feels is related to that key phrase. If you haven't done it, it's pretty technical to look and say, this is bolded, do I want to rank for this? But if nothing else, do it as just an experiment to see perhaps there's a part of your niche that you're not exploiting for traffic. So it needn't be technical, just check it out, take a look for those bold terms. Make sure your page loads fast. What is fast? I would say under a second, maybe a second and a half. You'll see on the Google Webmaster Tools that they've now included a section where you can see how long it takes your site to load. Matt Cutts, the head of web spam at Google, made a tweet about how important it is. When he tweets, doesn't matter if you like him, love him, or hate him, you should probably listen just to hear what he has to say. Towards that end, it's very important that your site is really quick and easy to use. You're going to find that it helps not just with Google, but your users are going to stick around longer too. Oftentimes when a page doesn't load immediately, what's the first thing you do? Next. Exactly. So, towards that end, make sure your page loads fast. There is a plugin for WordPress called WP Supercache. It turns your dynamic WordPress page into flat HTML files. Those are going to load on a factor of like 10 times faster than your dynamically generated site. Even if you have an awesome server, it's worth it to get it down and have flat files. How many people here do caching for WordPress? Okay. Finally, the related post plugin, like I talked about earlier, or the additional products plugins, those are valuable. Keep people on the page, keep people engaged. That's really important. Can't stress that enough. I know that's kind of a side thought to SEO, but in the coming years, where page performance is going to be more and more important in your ranking, you're going to want to do these things, and it will tie into SEO. So let's talk about off-page optimization. I get the most questions about this. So why do I have a picture of Johnny Football and the homecoming queen at a conference full of internet nerds? And I say nerds with the most endearing term way possible. I was not either one of those people in high school. Well, I say that because they are credible. They are popular. If you ask anyone in your high school, who is that? They're going to say, oh, that's Johnny Football. Who's that girl? Oh, that's the homecoming queen. It doesn't matter if it's the kid who sits in the corner. It doesn't matter if it's the kid who is kind of popular. Everybody knows these people. It's the same way with Google. When you have a lot of people vouching for your credibility, Google sees you as an authority. Towards that end, the more people pointing links to you, the more important you look. Off-page optimization is really about getting links and getting the right kind of links. You want relative and authoritative links. So in a way, Google is like high school. However, you can win this one, even if you weren't popular in high school. So, towards that end of authority, Johnny Football is probably going to have a more trusted opinion than Stevie Math Team. It's the same way with Google. If you get a link from one site that's really trusted and is a really big authority in the niche, it's going to be far more valuable than getting 20 Stevie Math Teams to vouch for you and say, this guy's really cool. He can do calculus with his eyes closed. If 30 people from your high school know you, it would still be better just to have one friend, and that friend be Johnny Football, because he's going to vouch for you and people listen to what he has to say. It's the same thing with off-page optimization. People need to look at you, and they need to see you as a credible source. Google uses PageRank as a way to determine authority. Larry Page, one of the founders of Google, PageRank is named after him. It doesn't have anything to do with web pages. It's just kind of a happy coincidence. You need two kinds of links to make your site an authority: relevant and authoritative, like I said before. So while a PR7 site, and PR is based out of 10, you'll hear a lot about, oh, I have a PR3, I have a PR4. Doesn't matter. Don't care. PR is just a way to gauge how important a site is. It doesn't have anything to do with ranking. There are going to be PR0 sites that outrank PR5 sites all day long. I would rather be the PR0 guy than the PR5 guy, any day of the week. So if your site's about chairs, and you can get a link from a really nice authoritative site that makes rocking chairs, and they're a PR8, that's awesome. If you can get a nice link from a site that makes blue widgets, it's awesome, but it's not as awesome. So I'm not saying don't take links. If you get the opportunity to get a nice link from a high authoritative site, by all means do it. Links aren't going to hurt you. Get that link, it'll work good for you, but it's going to be better if the site is related and authoritative in your niche. Don't freak out about PageRank. How many people here know what their PageRank is right now? All right, awesome. Who cares? Doesn't matter. PageRank is just a big picture thing. Yes, it's nice to have a high PageRank. Yes, some people do look at that when they buy a site. However, I don't. I would rather look at a nice ranking that's going to be relevant and going to be profitable for me than the page rank. Really, what is page rank? Just a number. People say that about age too, but I think it's more relevant here. So don't obsess over page rank. Focus on building a profile of high quality one-way links. Trust the rankings, not your page rank. So how do I get links? This is another one of the questions that you hear all the time as an SEO. This is kind of a standard list. You're going to see this on every SEO blog, every guy that says he's good at SEO. You're going to see this all over the place. There's nothing new or exciting about this. You can guest post on people's blogs. It's pretty hard to turn down free content. If you're a writer and you're putting out stuff every day, you can get a guest post on a blog. Really, the biggest hurdle is asking. You develop a relationship with someone, you email them, you meet them at a conference, say, hey, I would love to do a guest post for you. And if you're putting out good content, they'd be stupid to say no. So towards that end, you can get links that way. Social bookmarking, how many people here social bookmark, dig, stumble, anything like that? Okay, well that's awesome. You need to be, if you have content that you're putting out, dig it, stumble it, get it out there. It doesn't matter if it doesn't get any digs. It's going to see links, it's going to see aggregation, it's going to see people scraping dig for their site. Love that. It doesn't matter. Even if you get 4 digs, 4 people liked your stuff, that's awesome, but you're also getting nice links from it. And you can control what is in those links, what is in those anchor tags. It's important. Various profiles. A lot of people don't know that YouTube has profiles that are one-way do-follow links. So if you put out awesome video content and you have a channel on YouTube, how many people here dabble in video content? Cool. So that's awesome. You can get lots of awesome one-way links to your profile, and from your profile on YouTube, you get a one-way do-follow link from YouTube. I say do-follow, I'll talk about that in a little bit, but you get a one-way link from YouTube to your site. So if you're putting out great video content, make sure you leverage that profile. That link could be really huge for you, especially if there's a lot of related content. If you're putting out content about bicycles that's really getting a lot of links because you are really good at doing tricks on bicycles, you need to link to your bicycle e-commerce site from there. Twitter aggregators, if you don't use a shortening device on Twitter, you can oftentimes pick up links that way. I like to do it. It's not really a big deal. It's just a way, if you're doing Twitter and you're doing tweets, try not to shorten your links or work up another way to keep your URL short. So this way, when someone retweets your content and it gets picked up by one of these Twitter websites, you get one-way links from that too. Facebook fan pages. How many here are fans of something on Facebook? Awesome. Well, that stuff gets indexed in Google. And even though the links are kind of low quality, they're not very authoritative, get them on there. If you're a fan of something, get your link on that wall. Obviously, don't be spammy about it. Make sure it's a relevant thing. But oftentimes, people are fans of something that is relevant to what they do. Get a link on there. It's not going to hurt. Worst comes to worst, you get people looking at your link. Awesome. Better yet, you get robots and spiders looking at your link from the search engines too. Sites you make. You have to be your own biggest advocate. If you are looking to rank for something, you might want to make a couple of sites about it, especially if it's a competitive niche. Weight loss, teeth whitening, any kind of male enhancement product. These are the guys that are doing really serious SEO. And so I look to them to see what they're doing. I take those methods, clean them up a little bit because those guys are often not the most ethical people in the world, and apply them to what I'm doing. Oftentimes the competition is the best place to look for inspiration. Towards that end, if you want to make a mini net, your site should have a blog. It should have, depending on what you do, obviously, it should have a smaller authoritative site within it. So for example, I'm going to open the kimono here a little bit. One of my sites is about vinyl cutters. They make stickers. So I have 5 vinyl cutter sites. I've dedicated one site to one specific brand about vinyl cutters with the intention of becoming an authority about that brand of vinyl cutters. So when I link back to my main site from an authority site, it really helps. So you need to make a couple of sites if you're playing in somewhere really competitive, or if you have a lot of great content. There's no reason not to focus down and make smaller sites that are going to become authoritative to link to your bigger site. It's called a mini net. Link bait. How many people here know what link bait is? Awesome. Let's talk about that because that's one of my favorites. Link bait. Link bait is any media that gets people excited in any capacity about the content of that media and inspires them to link back to it so their discourse on the subject is relevant. Link bait is just exciting stuff. Whatever it is. There is no subject you can't link bait for. There is no niche that you can't get people excited about. It's all about doing it the right way. How many people here would ever get excited about credit cards? I know I don't, unless the bill comes. However, this gentleman made a website, and he says, and you might feel that this is a little bit disingenuous. The ethical repercussions of it certainly are something to consider, but this is a great example of being creative in your niche. 13-year-old steals dad's credit card to buy hookers. So he wrote this article, and it got tons of traffic. It went to the first page of Dig. It went to the first page of Reddit. And in every single one of those links, it said, 13-year-old steals dad's credit card to buy hookers. This guy was trying to rank for credit cards. So in a relatively short period of time, he got one-way authoritative links from all over the web with the word credit cards in it. It made his site really credible. The site was money.co.uk, in case you're wondering. Ultimately, Google found out about his shenanigans and discounted the weight of the links, and that's why it was kind of disingenuous that he didn't tell people that this was a farce. However, it did work for him, and if you're a little bit more subtle about it, you can do this too. Doesn't matter what your niche is. Doesn't matter. Kitchen chairs, rocking chairs, adult diapers, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter how boring or dry you feel that your subject is, you can write exciting content about it. Ultimately, he added the small disclaimer, note, this story is a parody and not intended to be taken seriously. But that wasn't there in the beginning. This is a piece of link bait that I did about 6 months ago, trying to capitalize on radio control airplanes and helicopters. So I made a small video on YouTube implying that I could use my iPhone to fly a radio control helicopter. If you know nerds or you know people that love technology, you know that this was like gold to them. People love iPhones, people love Apple, people love radio control helicopters. Anything that flies and does crazy novelty stuff, it's a big deal. Ultimately, it went viral, got over 100,000 hits, got links from every corner of the web. I didn't actually fly my radio control helicopter with the iPhone. It was a clever farce. However, it worked, people believed it, and I was pretty happy with the results. I got a ton of links for it, made the front page of Slashdot, made the front page of Dig. These are high traffic sites. Did it help my Google rankings? Absolutely. Did I love seeing that my server is going down because I got 100,000 people to my site? Absolutely. So radio control helicopters, it's pretty dry, boring stuff. Combine it with some other stuff, and you get all kinds of links about it. So, link bait isn't limited to phony articles. You don't have to be disingenuous to get people excited. Drew Carey on Twitter is a great example of this. He said that if he gets, I think it was 1 million followers, he'll donate $1 million. People get excited about that. They were retweeting that. They were blogging about it. Obviously, Drew Carey is not looking to do SEO work, but if you can get people excited and get people engaged, they're definitely going to be into it. Viral videos, another great example. David at the dentist is this small child who goes to the dentist and gets some anesthesia and really has a good time with himself, just freaking out in the back seat. Huge viral phenomenon, a lot of links. If I were looking to rank for a dentistry site or teeth whitening site, ranking for words like dentist and those sort of things are not going to hurt me, and it's a lot of one-way inbound links. Creative applications, web, mobile apps, iPhone apps, those are huge. People get excited about those. How often have you showed your friends some brand new iPhone application that's really exciting? So depending on what your budget is, you could have an application made, you could make it yourself, or you could lie about it and say that you made an app to fly your radio control helicopter. The most important thing is be evocative. Matt Cutts, the head of web spam at Google, says, link baiting sounds like a bad thing, but especially if it's interesting information or fun, it doesn't have to have negative connotations. I hereby claim that content can be both white hat and yet still be wonderful bait for links. So that's Google's opinion on it. I'm inclined to think that as long as you're being genuine, especially if you're working on a brand, there's nothing wrong with getting people excited. So, if you've been thinking about how to monetize your website, you've probably thought about the different areas that you're going to do it in. And so, for this reason, you probably should have a blog or somewhere where you can have friendly general discourse. Oftentimes, link bait doesn't fit into an e-commerce kind of model. You may need another website to do this on. Towards that end, if you do the mini-net and you have small auxiliary sites to your main site, you can use the link bait on one of them and link from there to your main site. Those sort of things, layers, really help. So I've written up a couple of exercises that you guys can do if you're having a hard time thinking about how to get people excited, how to be evocative. So this one's called the downfall. And I would just like you to think carefully about your niche and something that would absolutely devastate it. What would take the world as you know it and turn it completely upside down? Even if it's rocking chairs. Think about a futuristic rocking chair. A rocking chair with a cooler built into it for beer. A rocking chair that has wheels on it and goes down a hill at 50 miles an hour. A rocking chair that has skis on the bottom of it and goes down skiing slopes. So I wrote this as an RIAA executive in 1999. I've seen it, the future. It's grim for music sales as we know them today. Last week, a friend invited me over his house. He's an internet's genius of one sort or another, and he showed me his MT3. It's music on the computer, and it's small enough that you can download it without having to wait for a long time. I went home, wrote my resume, and poured a bottle of scotch. So nobody's really excited about MP3s or nerdy computer stuff, but you got to think about your niche and what would absolutely devastate it. Make that thing happen, or preach about that thing happening. A lot of people could be worried that rebill offers in the affiliate world are going away because of negative option billing being kind of unethical. Write about that. That's huge. The savant. How many people here have seen Rain Man? Love Rain Man. So the premise is this guy is autistic and he's really, really, really good at blackjack. It's his one thing. He's completely worthless for everything else. So basically what you want to do is find something in your niche and make someone really good at it. How many people here have seen the video of the kid who plays hockey and does a pirouette before he scores on the goal? All right, well, clearly that wasn't that successful then. But there's some other great examples. So take somebody that's really, really talented at something about your niche, glorify them. Children work really, really well for this. I'm not saying to exploit children, but I'm saying that people love to see small kids that are really good at stuff. All these Dance Dance Revolution videos, all these video games, find something that those kids are good at, make it happen towards what you're doing. The dream. So this is kind of where I got the idea for the fly phone. Simply think of something that you wish existed and make it happen. Make it, steal it, lie about it, fake it, whatever it takes, but make it happen so that you can give something that doesn't exist, give that to people. That idea is very evocative. So this is a small idea that I had back in the day when I was really excited about 1 gigahertz computers. So now we have like two processors or 4 processors in a computer, and each one of them are 2 gigahertz. But back in the day, making it to 1,000 megahertz was such a big deal that I was so excited about it. And ultimately what I said was, yeah, we found a way to get our processors overclocked up to 1 gigahertz, liquid nitrogen. So it's real nerdy, but it's cool, and people like new borders, new boundaries. So if you can push the boundaries and make something exist that doesn't exist yet, it's a great way to bait people. The hero. Be the hero, make the hero, or make the hero look like a douche. This is popular no matter what niche, but especially social media sites love this. You can get a lot of inbound links from being the hero. Say something that people won't. Say something that people aren't going to like. Or say something that people will love. Be the hero. So towards that end, this is something that I wrote about trying to get help in a Best Buy. The girl behind the counter told me, I have never heard of a plasma that cheap before. I think the internet lied to you, dude. I insisted, showing her the newspaper advertisement from her store and pointing at it. She said, well, whatevs. I don't think it's here, but I mean, you can totally try looking. Damn it, Tanya, FML. Seriously? She was starting to lose her focus. Feeling an impending sneeze coming on, I found myself with a heavy hand. Perhaps because I was afraid I'd hit her if I lifted up my hand. Whatever the reason, I sneezed on this girl. Not just like a little guy. I blew her away hurricane style. Parts of her hair came out of her ponytail. I blasted her so bad. I laughed until I noticed that she had her mouth open and was slowly tasting. So these are the kind of things that you could write about televisions, consumer electronics, electronic stores. You would obviously want to protect the brand integrity of a store and say, at a popular electronics store, this is what happened. Well, if you have a small, not so popular electronics store, this is a great way to leverage those links. So blog comments get a lot of debate in the SEO world. Are blog comments worthwhile? I happen to think they are. If you can blog comment relevant stuff, not spam, don't go around blowing up people's blogs with links that don't make any sense and those wonderful messages that say, hi friend, I have great prescription for you, make you man a lot more. Those don't really work because they get deleted. But if you can leave relevant white hat comments about the conversation, those links do help. So there's a couple things that you should look for. One's called comment love, and that's kind of a knee-jerk reaction to something called nofollow and do follow. Years ago, Google and Yahoo and I think MSN all got together and said, we have to do something about the spam problem. So they made something called Nofollow Links. Nofollow links simply say that you do not vouch for the credibility of the link on your site. How many people here know about nofollow and do follow? Okay, cool. I personally think that nofollow links still help. Links are links. I'll take them any way I can get them. It's a big, big subject of debate. In my personal experience, I've ranked sites using nofollow links. It does help. It does work. Would I rather have a do follow link? Absolutely. Will I take a nofollow link? You bet ya. So look for footprints. Find something that is on every single one of these comment love sites. It's as easy as searching Google for comment love or this site uses comment love. If you can find a footprint, make sure you find it and you use it. It doesn't have to be just comment love. There are other blog engines out there that let you leave comments. Don't be afraid to put that information into Google and see what the sites are. Find them on your niche. If you search in quotes for this site uses comment love and then you search for your keyword, you're going to find sites related to what you're doing that you can get do follow, one-way, highly targeted links from. This stuff helps. Submit great content. Diggers are snobs. Reddit people are snobs. They're all snobs. They have people like us jamming onto their site 24 hours a day trying to get ranked for tooth whitening and weight loss and male enhancement pills. They don't like content that sucks. Give them something to get excited about. Your Twitter followers are a great source of links. Maybe not directly, but people who use Twitter, at least right now, are highly technical. Chances are they have a website. They know someone who has a website. They're in charge of a website. Give them great content. If you're on Twitter, make sure you give them something to link to that's worthwhile. Oftentimes, it's a great way to get people excited about things. Also, if you have a Twitter about rocking chairs, don't tell me that you are a crazy fanatic and tweet me every single Cowboys play. Give people relevant content to why they followed you. I'm a big believer in that. I understand the personal branding and it's so important to be authentic and be yourself, but if I have to watch every time you do 120 characters, scream of A followed by 119 H's, Cowboys down, it gets a little old. Make sure people are getting what they follow you for. So when all else fails, look where your competition gets their links. You can go to Yahoo and use what's called the Site Explorer. You simply type in site, and then the website of one of your competitors, especially somebody outranking you. You can see where they've gotten their links from and work towards getting links from those same sites. Having that kind of link profile is going to let you outrank them. When you get better links than they do and more of them, you're going to eventually bubble up right over them. It's a big deal. Don't be afraid to use the Yahoo Site Explorer. Also, you can export every single one of their links in spreadsheet format. If you have interns or employees that perhaps you don't like so much, you can set them loose on a giant Excel file of links. Here, get links from here. Do what you can. Talk to people, work it, leave comments, doesn't matter. This guy's getting links from here, we need them too. There's a product called Snatcher. It will go out and look at your competitors for a keyword and figure out where they get links from, and it will search those links for a footprint of comments. I think it's like 20 bucks a month. It's awesome. It's called the Link Excavator. It returns you a giant list of links, which you can then step through in your browser. So you can set up yourself or one of your employees sitting there doing blog comments, and it will take you from site to site without having to do anything. And it's still white hat. You're still doing it by hand. It's not unethical as long as you're leaving comments that are relevant to the conversation and aren't spammy. Ranking tools. So there are some tools that I absolutely could not live without. Oftentimes, when I first got into SEO, I would spend hours typing my keywords and queries into Google and looking to see where I was. And when you rank on page 9, that takes a while. So there's a free from SEO book program called Rank Checker. You put in your domain name, you put in your keywords, you hit go. It goes to Google, pulls out the information, and tells you exactly where you rank. You can run it once a day. You can run it 10 times a day, though you can time out from Google. So I try to just run it once a day. Checking your rankings is kind of a waste of time. I do it like once a week now. So definitely don't focus too hard on where you are day to day. There's a lot of fluctuation in Google. What you want to look for is overall trends. Is the work I'm doing paying off? Authority Labs is another small startup company, and they give you nice white label reports. If you're doing SEO for someone else and you want to print out something with your letterhead on it, you can show them a nice ranking report from Authority Labs, and it's all white label. It's really great. It's 25 bucks a month for 10 domains and I think 1,000 keywords, and they give you nice graphs in relation to how you're doing, how your competitors are doing. Rank Checker is a little bit more basic, but it's free and it works. So SEO Book puts out another great one called SEO Information. I think it's called SEO Information for Firefox. And it is amazing for assessing competition in a niche. When you search on Google, it puts under every single result their page rank, the number of links they have, how old their domain is, where they're getting. You can click on it and figure out where they're getting links from. There's a plethora of information available to you from this. And so if you're assessing whether this is somewhere where you can rank, or you're trying to figure out how do these sites stack up to my site, where are they beating me, this is a great tool to have. Super fast too. There's an extension for Firefox called No-Do-Follow. And so if you're unsure if the links that you're getting are no-follow or do-follow, you simply right-click and hit no-follow, and it's going to put in purple every single link that is do-follow. If you found a footprint maybe for comment love or something else, and you're curious as to whether it's no-follow or do-follow, this is a great way to check without digging into the source, especially if it's obfuscated or some things may not be clear, or you don't know HTML, or you don't want to get real dorky with it. This is a great tool to have. How many people here use Macs? Awesome. There is a great tool for Mac called Coda. It doesn't really directly help with SEO, but it's a great way to manage your websites. It gives you small pictures, FTP. It gives you a terminal, an editor, CSS editor. It's everything in one. It's really handy. Yeah, it may not directly help with your SEO, but the less time that you spend dealing with FTPs and uploading and code, the more time you can focus on marketing your site. So that kind of brings us to a close with what I'm going to talk about. If you guys have questions, I'd be happy to entertain them. And if you have questions later, feel free to approach me. I'm pretty easygoing. No problems with pretense. Jam right up to me, introduce yourself. I'd be happy to talk to you. If you have questions or comments later that you come up with, I'm pretty open. I'm happy to give you creative ideas for link bait. I'm happy to help you look at your site and see what can be done. I don't do SEO as really a full-time gig every single day. I'm going to school for creative writing right now, and I do SEO as a hobby. I really enjoy it. And so, yeah, I like ranking my sites, but you know what? I have no problem telling you where you're messing up. I'm not going to make a big deal about it. My Twitter is @JoshuaZiering. My email is joshuaziering@gmail.com, and I keep a small website of SEO tactics that you can use to rank your site better and to just generally make more money online. It's called fullspeedseo.com. I've written some articles on there that may be of use to you. They're pretty specific, but if one applies to you, you might find it helpful. Questions? Thank you. Thanks, guys. Thank you. Yeah. I like Drupal. Personally, I found it harder to use than WordPress, and especially if you have other people that are not as versed with computers, I found that Drupal was a little bit more difficult for them to get around. It's a personal preference. Drupal works great. There's a great community there, and there's a lot of support for it. As an open source content system, I'm a huge advocate of it. Do I think it's better than WordPress? No. It's just different. I prefer WordPress. You might prefer Drupal. If it lets you get your content out there in an optimized fashion as quickly and as easily as possible, I don't care what it is. I'm a fan. Yeah. So the question is, he has a shared server and he wants to put some auxiliary sites on there, meaning that they would share an IP. Is that a big deal? I don't think it's a big deal if you're doing a small number of sites, especially about different topics. Google will probably penalize you if you set up 100,000 sites on the same shared hosting, all about the same topic, all with the same content. I don't have a problem putting the same sites on shared servers with the same IP. Be relevant, be genuine about it. As long as you're not doing anything underhanded, I think you'll be fine. Yes? So the suggestion there was, if you don't want people to know that your sites are affiliated, which can be a legitimate concern sometimes, you don't want people to think that you are being disingenuous, you can certainly get another shared hosting account for $4 a month, whatever it is. In the big scheme of things, it's not a big cost, but do I think it's necessary? Perhaps not, but if you are worried about people associating sites, different sites, you know, if you don't want your bakery customers to know that you're also a SEO by night, sure, that's a legitimate concern, I understand. Let's get to somebody that we haven't, oh, yes?
If I may interrupt, we do have a microphone
Oh,
here.
we have a microphone so that everybody can hear your awesome voice. Yeah. Paid links? So that's a touchy subject. Google will penalize you if you get caught buying links. Do I think that you need to buy links? Absolutely not. However, if I was going to pay for advertising on a site, you follow where I'm going with this? If I was going to pay for advertising on a site, I would make sure that I got a nice one-way do follow link for the money that I'm paying them to show a banner. However, I don't really work with large budgets very often, so I don't think you need to pay for links. I think that your money would be better spent making great content and guest posts on other people's sites to get links that way. Anybody else? Another one? All right, go ahead. So the question is are link exchanges worthwhile? I'm not really the biggest fan of them, but given the choice between not having a link exchange and having a link exchange, yeah, if it's an authority site in the niche, I'd be happy to do a link exchange. But that said, do I need to have a page called links that as soon as you go to it, scrolls all the way to the bottom of the page because there's 10 million links on there? No, I don't like that. I think that looks spammy. Google thinks that looks spammy, and that's ultimately going to hurt your site because you're giving all these people links, and they're linking back to you. You're killing your ability to be credible by having that many links. You look like a link farm. It looks spammy. Yeah, the right link exchange can help you, but as a general rule, you don't need to go around emailing 10 million people like, hey, let's do some link exchanges. Yeah, link me here. Yeah. Louder, please. So how important is the anchor text in the link is the question? So the anchor text is very important. I always like to try and get a keyword in my anchor text. That said, if you don't have control of the link, it's not a big deal. If you're getting an awesome link from a site that's about what your site is about, Google's smart enough to know what a site is about. They look at the number of words that show up and the frequency and the density of those words. They're going to say, oh, this site's about rocking chairs. Oh, this site's about rocking chairs too, even if the link is just Josh or Steve or Tom. There's enough intelligence there, I think, that you should never turn down a good link just because you can't get the anchor text you want. All right, well, look, I'm available all day. I'm jamming around. If you guys have questions that you didn't think of that you want to ask, be happy to answer them for you. Guys, thank you for coming. I can't thank you enough. Thrilled that everybody made it here. Hopefully you learned something. If not, hopefully it was entertaining in some capacity. Thanks, guys.